Are you ready? 3, 2,
let's go.
1, let's go.
Hey guys, what's up? Bushcraft family with another video, and today what we're going to be talking about is you just can't trust the government. So here's some items that you may want to stockpile on, because can't really rely on the government, can we? It's comforting to assume that government agencies or your local, state, or whatever level is on will swoop in and provide aid and assistance, food and water and all that fancy stuff. Unfortunately, that is rarely the case. Usually, you can go down to Oklahoma during a tornado there. Who were the first people to go get on site to help? It was the local people at that location. The churches, the actual people who lived there came out with their chainsaws and whatever equipment to clear the debris and assess the situation and whatnot. And then you would get FEMA and whatever a few days later, depending on how long it took them to get there. We'll just leave it at that, okay? So you're pretty much, until that happens, you got to rely on yourself. And most of the time when they do show up, what they give you in support and everything is very little, because they have a mass amount to give out, so they're not going to give you a whole lot. First of all, determine where you're at, where you live, what kind of things will happen in that area. Be it earthquake, tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards, snowstorms, things in that nature. So depending where you live, sometimes you have to prepare for multiple things. Like here in Ohio, it's tornadoes, it's blizzards, we have earthquakes. What else? We have trains that derail all the time. I'll leave that at that. So that's things that you have to think about to prepare for. And let's just get to it. This is the stockpile of things. You can't assume that somebody's going to provide these things for you, so you got to have them yourself. And one of the things is water. I talk about water all the time being the number one thing. You can go 3 weeks without food, but you can't go 3 days without water. And that's the gist of it. Now, one of the things on this list I don't like to recommend, because people just buy these things nilly-lilly off the shelf and say, oh, that's water purification tablets, that's good. Wrong. You have to make sure you get good quality ones of these, because some of them have they leave a residue which will actually harm you in the long run. Some of them don't do what they say they do. So I tend to not recommend these to people because of that. Because if you don't do your research on them, you're doing more harm than good. So I'll leave it at that. That's a thing for you to figure out. storage jugs, even just an empty one. You should always have a few empty ones, 5 gallon, depending how much you can carry, what you have to carry it in, things like that. But have extra water jugs, empty ones. Ways to sterilize, something to cook the water in, to boil it in. Portable ways to carry for when you have to go away from your home and stuff. You want to carry water with you, because believe it or not, it doesn't take much to dehydrate somebody. The next thing is medical supplies. A lot of times, first responders, there's very few in your county. You may have some volunteers. You may have EMS in the area, but when they're out on a call, it's usually very few of these are available. So if there's a major something happening, that they have to come in from other counties, and sometimes you just can't wait that long. So it's best to have some of the stuff. And I always say it's good to have a trauma kit. A trauma kit, has tourniquets. It has basic first aid stuff, stuff to keep you there alive until you can get help. Painkillers, aspirins, things like that. Antihistamines for cuts, and Neosporin to keep the willies out, if you may. Different medicines, for colds and things like that. Because, your EMS or whatever is not going to carry a lot of this stuff. They're just emergency type stuff only. So it's good to have that stuff. And if you take prescriptions, make sure you have some prescriptions available, because how long will it take for you to be able to get a new prescription filled during a bad time? Antibiotics. Oh, God. I'll get out there. And there are various antibiotics that you can use, because you just can't go to the grocery store and say, I want some, I have multiple ways for this. I have oregano oil. I have fermented garlic, different things like that. That's something that you would want to look into, or some antibiotics that you may have used for a past surgery or something like that, depending on what it is, because there's very different antibiotics for the inside, outside, and whatnot. Our next one is sanitation. Very important. You're going to want, soap, shampoo, toothpaste, mouthwash, all that fancy stuff. And then you're going to need stuff to clean, sanitize areas and whatnot. Bleach, white vinegar, hand sanitizer. You're going to need feminine products, toilet paper, alcohol wipes, baby wipes. You name it, that's some of the stuff that you're going to need. And here we go with food. Most preppers are pretty good at stockpiling food. But the challenge comes is cooking said food. Make sure you have ways of cooking. And these are emergency food preparations. This is not, canned food in a jar or whatnot. Emergency food would be like something like an MRE that you don't have to have a camp stove or anything to heat the food up or anything like that. Canned goods are good. Make sure you have ways of opening this. If you're canning with jars and everything, hopefully you have some of that left that wasn't destroyed. Another thing is canned food, dehydrated food. Just soaking it, making a little hobo stove or having a little gas stove or something to heat that dehydrated stuff up. Stuff like that. It's good to have these emergency bars and things like that. Our next one is alternate electricity. Power's out more than likely in one of these situations. So solar is key. Gas generators, bigger batteries, a way to convert a car battery to electricity, which would be an inverter. So something like that would be extremely useful because there are going to be cars all over the place that you could remove batteries and whatnot. Now, we also want to look at lighting. It's going to get dark. Eventually, it's going to get dark outside, so you're going to want some long-burning emergency candles, solar rechargeable type lanterns or flashlights, things like that. And I would say the last thing on here would be the lanterns that take the certain kind of fuel, the kerosene and stuff, because once that's gone, so is your light. So those are nice to have, but unless you have a stockpile that didn't get destroyed, yeah, solar or candles would be the way to go. Shelter. You may not be able to stay in your home. You may have to sit out in your front yard or in the woods somewhere, so you're going to want a tent, sleeping bag, some kind of shelter of some sort. Sleeping bags, things like that. Portable chairs, if possible, but not necessary. And that's just a small list of things. I could go on and on and on about this stuff. And there's so much more stuff to make sure you have, like your documents and stuff. But the main thing is making sure you survive more than what information you have. A lot of times people focus on a lot of that stuff and they forget about simple things as just water. And what good is having your documents on you when you run out of water? Simple. Until next time, like always, God bless.